Hey Preacher Girls, it's Pastor Sharo here and welcome to the Preacher Girl Podcast number 113. This one's going to be so awesome. Just before I get started, I just want to shout out to all the winners of last week's competition. You guys did so great. I loved watching the videos online about your makeup stuff and all that good stuff. So congratulations to all the people who won Bessie Hicks's book and all the people who won whatever else we gave away. And I know we have a basket full of all the best beauty products that you suggested. I know that was such a novel and wonderful idea. Okay, it wasn't novel. I stole it from Oprah, but it's okay. Anyway, going on to this week's podcast. Today we're going to talk about something that's so important to all of you preachers, entrepreneurs, moms, or whatever station of life you find yourself in. And that's the question, who's in your circle? There's a 75-year-old Harvard study that was conducted obviously a long time ago and spanned several decades. And the conclusion of that study was that 95% of the determinant of whether your life is a success or a failure depended on your relationships. The way they said it was even better than the way I said it. 95% of the predictors of success or a failure comes down to your relationship. Is that crazy? That the people you're hanging out with, the people in your circle, 95% of whether you make it or don't make it depends on who's in that circle. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your relationships and who you're allowing to be in your inner circle. This is not just about society and Harvard studies. This is about the scripture. I want you to think of Simon, Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Thomas, Matthew. You know, the 12 disciples. Those men were tax collectors, doctors, fishermen, people from all walks of life. But their proximity, their closeness to Jesus changed their lives forever. In fact, they didn't only change their lives, they changed the world by just being close to Jesus, walking where he walked and talking where he talked and watching him do what he was doing, changed who they were from the inside out. Do you know that your accent right now does not depend on your family? It doesn't depend on where you were born. 90% of your accent depends on where you are now and who you hang out with. Isn't that crazy? The people around you, the more you live with them, the more you begin to speak like them, the more you begin to act like them, talk like them, think like them. So just imagine if you're living with, and if you are in a circle of overachievers or people who are consistently working or people who are always trying harder and going after the next thing, if you are in the company of people who are considered professionals or geniuses in their field, you can't help but improve your life and improve your level of success and achieve the things that you are meaning to achieve. But if you're in a circle or if you're keeping in proximity to people who consistently give up, who are consistently in a bad mood, who are consistently sucking the joy out of your life and out of their own lives, guess what's going to happen to you? The same thing. So today we're going to talk for just a few minutes on how to choose the people in your circle. And you may find at the end of this that you may have to cut some things off, some places off, some people off, some practices off. But I promise you, at the end of it, these 70, 80, 90 years that we've been given by God would be well worth it. And you'd hear him say, well done. Today, if there's anything I want to get through to you is this: hanging around the wrong people stacks the deck against you. Anything that you can achieve in life, you'll only achieve to a percentage of the success that it could have been achieved at had you been around the people that God put in your path that could help you. I want you to think back, if you are successful in any way, if you consider yourself a success in your career or in your motherhood or in whatever ways, the people who have made it the farthest in terms of their goals being achieved can always attest to somebody being there along the way to propel them along. I look back in my own life, even to the very, very beginning, and not counting mom and dad, who obviously have such a great influence on my life, but without certain people along the way that really pushed me in the right direction, I would never be here today. I guarantee you that. I know that one of the greatest assets of my life was God putting people in my path and in my life that were there to help me get to where God meant for me to be. My godmother, of course, is the first person, but I got to walk with her and see her do what I wanted to do. So some of that stuff came naturally by emulation. Nobody had to teach me with a pointed finger. I knew because I was around her. But there were other great people in my life. I'll never forget my first primary school teacher, Sunday school teacher. I mean, this is not about me giving accolades to people in my childhood, but I can remember that my teacher in Sunday school was the first person to ever show me what a gentleman looked like. It was the first person I ever knew in my life who knew how to pull a chair out or open a door for a lady, who knew how to say thank you and good night and hello, how are you, and to make you feel like you were worth being listened to. I will never forget that. But it puts something in my spirit that says when you treat people with respect, then they reciprocate that respect. If they don't reciprocate it, then maybe they don't belong in your inner circles. Similarly, going through high school, there were people that I looked up to that God put in my path, people who were better at what I wanted to be good at, people who could show me and teach me without making me feel like I was less, or without making me feel like if I couldn't achieve what it is they achieved. There are people all through my life, even as a pastor, as an intern, as a youth pastor, that God put in my life, into my circle, to make sure that I made it. But were there the other types of people as well? Absolutely. There were people who every time I came into contact with them, I felt less, or I felt depressed, or I felt robbed of my joy, or I felt like they were just taking, and never giving. I'm here to tell you that sometimes in order for you to be what God meant for you to be and achieve what God meant for you to achieve, you gotta let some people go. I know you don't want to hear it, but by the time we're done, you'll know how, you'll know why, and you'll definitely know who. So the first type of person that you want in your circle are people who are professional. Now, I don't want you to mistake that by me saying people who are academically or secularly successful. They're professional people who are not in the business world, or not in the legal field, or not a medical doctor, or not a pastor of a large church. There are people who are already amazing at what they do, even if nobody knows their name. And you know who those people are, because being in proximity with them causes you to up your game. It causes you to be better than you are at what you are doing. So for instance, if you are an author, if you are a person who wants to write a book, then it would behoove you, it would be in your best interest to have a relationship with someone who knows how to write a book, or who has written a book, or who loves to write. Right? You hang around with somebody who just wants to play video games all day and not write. That's not going to encourage your craft. It's not going to encourage your success. It's certainly not going to encourage your ministry. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're like, yeah, but Pastor Sharon, no authors want to be my friend. Nobody who's written a book wants to be my friend. Do you know that's why the PG Insider Group exists? Because I don't have time to be with every single person on a one-on-one basis, but I want to be there for those who need me. Not only that, there are people in this group who know more than I do in a million different spheres, and I want their knowledge. I want to know what they know. I want them to encourage me as well. That's why it exists. So you need to find those people who are professionals. They take their work seriously. They take their success, their ministry, and their future seriously. And my friends and among my people, not everybody has already made it, but they know where they're going. They know where they want to be. They know what God has called them to do, and they're pursuing it hotly. That's what I love, because that's how I am. I want to be around those people that see the spark and blow on the spark. Secondly, choose people that can promote mutual growth in your life. Now, this is so important, and a lot of Christians get really confused here because you're such a compassionate person that all you want to do is help everybody get out of their dump. You just want to help everybody up, help everybody, and meet everybody's needs and be everybody's salvation. You can't do that. You've got to get to the point where you have mutual benefit in a relationship. That doesn't mean you don't help people. You listen to me. And that doesn't mean that you don't help those in need. Just know the difference between doing that and bringing people into your inner circle. Have you ever had those relationships where that friend or that person is always needy? Like always? And you see them coming and you just want to run in the other direction really, really quick? I'm not telling you that you can't help that person from time to time, and there won't be seasons when God uses you to speak into their life. But honey, there has to come a time where your inner circle and the people that God uses to feed you and to nurture your spirit, and that relationship is mutually beneficial to you. There are times even in this lovely, lovely journey of senior pastorhood when I've wanted to quit. Not because I don't like my church. This is the best church on the planet. I love it. But there are times when things got so difficult and people got so hard to handle. And it seemed like I could just be happier just living far away where nobody knew my name. And I just wanted to just throw in the towel. And I'll call up one of my friends, the people who are in my circle that the Lord put in my life years ago. And I'll call them up and say, you know what? I'm ready to just, I'm done. I'm done. This is too much. I'm done. And they'll say to me, really? Are you done feeling sorry for yourself? Is this pity party almost over? And they'll go back and remind me of the things that God has done for me, and instead cause me to focus on that instead of the things that are stacked against me. And give me a good swift kick in the pants to say, you're letting this move you when God has been so good to you. By the time I'm done talking to them, in fact, it takes about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, for them to take what the devil has undone for hours and in 2 minutes cause me to just rise up. If you've got those people in your circle, hold them tight. Keep them in your circle because they need to be there. They won't always be encouraging to you, but in the times when you need somebody, God's going to put them there. 3, you want to be around people who know your value. They know your worth and they appreciate it. Nobody likes to be underappreciated. Nobody likes to feel used, and nobody likes to feel like if you're just, trying to get what you can get. So you want to be with people in your circle that know how to make you feel good about you. And so in Trinidad, there's this term called mama guy. I don't know if it exists in other countries, but it's probably the Trini word for flattery. People who always tell you how pretty you are, or how strong you are, and how kind you are, and how rich you are, and how smart you are. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are not afraid to tell you what you need to hear, sometimes from the Lord. Now, I've had friends in my circle who can't tell you you look good, but they sure can tell you when you don't look good. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? And they call themselves my friend, but the first thing they'll say, whoa, did you gain some weight? I'm like, no. Or they'll say, what is going on with your hair today? But on the days that it looks fabulous, they won't say, wow, your hair looks fabulous today. Girls, come on, what are we doing to each other? Be quick and swift to compliment. Tell somebody if you think they look fantastic, then by all means go out and tell them that they do look fantastic. And everybody needs to be in that circle where your friends lift you up and don't let you down. You need friends that the only time they let you down is to let you down in front of Jesus. It reminds me of that story in the Bible with the crippled man, and his 4 friends took him on a bed, dug a hole in the roof, and put him down right there in front of Jesus. That's what you need in your circle. The friends who, when you can't make it, when you need to get in front of the Lord and you can't find your way there, they'll pick you up and put you there, right there in front of his face. But if you are in friendships with girls or with women or with people who consistently know how to put you down instead of lift you up, that's a toxic relationship. That is not the kind of people who are going to help you achieve your goals and get to where God has called you to be. Last week, Thursday, was my birthday party on the boat. And it reminds me of the next kind of person you want to find in your circle. And that's people who are positive people. So we had a birthday party for me, and it was a surprise that wasn't a surprise because of course I knew all about it. And when we got on the boat, one of my friends danced from the time we got there to the time we left. She's not a good dancer. She can move and stuff, but she'll tell you, I don't know how to dance. But she danced, and she danced, and she danced, and at one point there were only 2 people on the dance floor, and she was one. And I was thinking, wow, she really is into the dancing today. And then I heard the Holy Spirit say, no, she's dancing for you. And all of a sudden, it was pretty much the best gift I got for my whole birthday. A friend who couldn't dance, maybe didn't even want to dance, but because it was my birthday, was determined to dance so that I would be happy. Let me tell you something. Everybody needs positive people in their lives. People who are not always chirpy because they have to be, but people who know how important it is for you to be happy. Because sometimes, some of you, I know you're the kind of people who put yourself out there to try to make your friends happy. And if nobody is in your circle doing that for you, girl, you're gonna run so dry. Your well is gonna be so dry that you're gonna feel very soon, you're gonna feel discouraged and feel like you have no helium in your balloon anymore. So you need happy helium friends. You need some friends who, yes, they have their moments when they're sad, and yes, they have their moments when they can't always be the one to pick you up, but that's how friendship works. Friendship works where sometimes you're in a good mood and you help me, and sometimes I'm in a good mood and I help you, and then God sends showers of refreshing, and then everybody is in a good mood and we just have the best times ever. But if you don't have any positive friends in your life, and all you've got are sourpusses, guess whose fault that is? And finally, you want powerful people in your circle. Woohoo! You know, I think number 3 was not a P word, but it should have been because all the rest have P's on them. You want people of power. Power in the spirit, power in the secular realm, power financially. I know, we all wish we had financially powerful people around us, don't we? Yeah, but maybe that person is ultimately going to be you. Now, this is what I want you to know. You might say, who of power is going to want to be around me? Sometimes you can't be around them because the person you think is powerful is super busy. Super busy, and they have no time to sit down and talk to you. But guess what? You can read their book. You can watch the podcast. You can watch their movie. Whoever it is that you think has the kind of power that you can get close to them without ever sitting in their office, without ever calling them on the phone. In fact, if they're the kind of people that would do an interview, just listening to how they answer somebody else's questions gives you so much insight to how they think. And if you're not trying to get their stuff and you're just trying to learn from them, you can learn just as well from what they have written as you would if you had a one-on-one conversation. Sometimes we just want to use people, you know, sometimes we just want to become their friend and have coffee when people don't have time to be your friend and have coffee. But you surely, if you know that they would be an asset to your life, then go ahead and honor them by listening to what they've put out there already. If you want to be what they are, if you want to do what they're doing, then do them the honor and be humble enough to subscribe to what they're putting out into the world, because that's how you have people of power in your circle. So this small part of this podcast is to tell you how to cultivate relationships with the people that impact you, right? I'm not going to tell you to call Oprah because she's going to answer your call. She's not. Neither is Barack Obama, probably. So, but if there are people in your immediate circle, maybe a supervisor, maybe your pastor, maybe somebody that is in a direct sphere of influence in your life that you really admire and you want to have a relationship with them, how do you do it? There are 3 easy ways I'm going to go through real fast. It's to be humble, be hungry, and be honest. Those 3 things. And I call them humble, hungry, and honest because those are the 3 ways that I've found in my life that I can connect with people who influence me. Now, I want you to know that doesn't mean we text each other every day and we talk to each other all the time. Sometimes these people, I talk to them once a year, if so much. I read everything they write and I look at everything they produce. But you want to be humble. That means if you are impacting me, I understand how valuable you are to the kingdom and how important your time is. So when somebody that I admire, an author I love, a preacher I admire, if I get in their presence or get them on the phone, the first thing I say is thank you so much. I put them in the place that in my life they belong, which is a place of honor. And I humble myself and I say, if they say, you know, can I do something for you? I'm like, I'm already prepared with the question. But the one thing I wanted to know from them, I value their time. I don't ask them out to dinner. I just say, you know, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I really honor you for just taking a moment to spend with me, because I'm telling you something. People who are very busy or very important to their sphere or very influential in the world, I am overwhelmed all the time when they take the time to sow into my life, and I don't take that for granted. And I most certainly don't get upset when they don't have hours and hours to spend with me. And the last one, be honest. Be honest. You know, when you get around important people, you want to start to name drop. Yeah, me and Michelle Obama were in the 3rd grade together. Don't do that. Even if it's true, in that few minutes that you get, be as sincere, as down to earth, and as honest as you can be. Honesty is appreciated on any level. Don't try to use that time to be dishonest, to pay dishonest compliments, to say, I read your work, and then when I ask you, you know, or if they ask you, what did you read? You have no idea. You want to be sincere and you want to be honest, because that gives a friendship, a relationship, a great place to start. The most disappointing thing in a relationship is to find out later that they lied to you. That what they said to make you like them wasn't even the truth. And it takes a lot to get over that stuff and to overlook it. It's a childish thing to do. So you want to start on the right foot by being completely transparent and completely honest in the beginning. I'm not saying to go tell them that you were molested as a 19-year-old and blah, blah. No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean by honesty. I mean, use that moment to focus on them and to focus on your need for their influence in an honest way. So, before I wrap up today's amazing podcast about the people in your inner circle, I want to tell you about this week's freebie. First of all, it's going to spaz you out. It's my favorite one so far. I know. You're like, what on earth could it be? Well, here it is. It is the PG Girl Charm Bracelet. I call it the Power Charm Bracelet. It is so amazing. I probably am gonna do a separate video to tell you all about it, but some of you, the girls in Maryland, already know about it. In fact, a ton of you already own one, and a couple people here at Hope. I haven't even released it here at home, but it is a bracelet where I've prayed about and chosen myself, curated every single charm on here. And the PG Girl bracelet is a constant reminder of that, what God has called you for, and that if He called you, no one can uncall you. Every single charm has a different meaning, and I have a card that comes with the bracelet that tells you what each charm means. The little dumbbell charm is about your strength, and all of it is like that. The one with the arrow is for the girl who's prophetic. If prophecy is your ministry, then that's the one you want to remember, that if God has called you, no one has uncalled you. The one with the Bible is for those of you who are called to teach the Word of God. Every charm represents something different. And you might say, but Pastor Cheryl, how come you have all the charms? Anyway, so this is the PG Girl bracelet, and for a limited time, if you want to purchase one of these, you will get the oil lamp of the Holy Spirit charm free on your bracelet. Right? I'm going to send it for free with whoever buys a bracelet. Girls in Trinidad, when I come home, I'm bringing several of them with me so you can get yours then. But I'll give you more details about what the bracelet is. But for today's freebie, I know, I'm giving away the bracelet with all of the charms on it, with all of the power charms. I know. If you want to find out how to win the bracelet on this freebie, then I want you to click the link in your email that says click here, and there you'll find instructions on how to win the Preacher Girl charm bracelet. So now, to wrap up today's podcast, we want to talk about the people, the places, and the practices that you might need to drop. And that's what we were talking about. There are some of us that have people in our inner circle, we have places in our inner circle, and we have practices in our inner circle that we just need to cut off. Cut off the joy zappers, the victim, the takers, those people that are always the victim, no matter what situation in life. They gotta go. They gotta go. And I'm not telling you to ditch friends left, right, and center. In my whole life, there's probably been about 3 or 4 people that have fit that bill. But if they're always the victim, then you'll always have to be salvation, and you can't do that. Also, the joy zappers, we talked about them. Drop some people. Drop some places. There's some of you going to the gym and you're miserable. Drop it. I've set you free. But there's some of you that go to the gym and love it. Don't drop it. But there's some of you that go to places, and not necessarily a good place like the gym, but places that are not feeding your spirit. You go out into places in the world just to be a good friend. And guys, you got to drop some places. And finally, drop some practices. You're overeating. Practices of self-deprecation. Practices of putting down yourself, practices of being rude to people, practices of allowing yourself to be taken advantage of over and over by the same people. Come on, guys. Drop some of those practices. Laziness is a practice some of us just needs to drop, and we need to get on the ball and do what we're called to do. So how do you solve the issue of the wrong people in your circle? Begin to examine who's in it, and whether they're adding value as well as receiving value. Drop some people, drop some places, drop some practices. I love you. God bless you. I'm excited to be part of your community. And I want to remind you that once God has called you, no one can uncall you.